The main opposition Democratic Party this time pushes for the impeachment of acting President Han Duck-soo, citing the cabinet today refusing to review two special counsel bills against President Yoon and the First Lady, the deadline set by the opposition. This sparked criticism from the ruling party and the government. Senior diplomats of South Korea and the U.S. meet in Washington and agree to resume security engagements that have been put on hold amid the recent political chaos in Korea. With 2024 being a year of much uncertainty on the international front, we take a look at how North Korea's military involvement in Russia's war against Ukraine this year has complicated the already grim situation. It's December 24th, 8 p.m. in Seoul. This is Newscenter. Thank you for joining us. I'm Yoon Jung-min. Earlier today, acting President Han Duck-soo refrained from reviewing the special counsel bills against the president and the First Lady. He urged for more dialogue between lawmakers across the aisle. Today was the deadline set by the opposition. Our correspondent Kim Do-yeon leads our coverage.
Despite heavy pressure from the opposition parties, acting President and Prime Minister Han Duck-soo during a cabinet meeting on Tuesday chose not to review the special counsel bills for President Yoon Suk-yeol and First Lady Kim Gon-hee. Instead, he called for more conversation between the ruling and opposition parties.
To wisely take care of matters that have legal interpretations and cause political views to clash, such as the special counsel bills and appointment of constitutional court justices, the ruling and opposition parties must put their heads together above all else.
The two special counsel bills, one for Yoon's alleged insurrection and the other for the First Lady's alleged stock manipulation scheme, need to be reviewed and either be approved or vetoed by the cabinet by January 1st. However, the main opposition Democratic Party of Korea called for swift approval and threatened impeachment unless Han provides approval by the earliest possible cabinet meeting, while an impeachment would suspend him as well. Han called for politicians to find ways to work together, hinting that the current special probe bill may seem unconstitutional.
If efforts are not made to establish a legal framework that both the investigation and the defense agree is fair, there is a significant risk of even greater distrust and hatred to grow in South Korea.
Han has already vetoed a bill last week as an acting president, as he has previously pledged to show consistency in government. Therefore, vetoes for the bills wouldn't be a big surprise, especially considering the probe for the First Lady has been vetoed multiple times before by President Yoon. In the meantime, an official at the Prime Minister's office said, quote, "As a member of the government, I find the comments by the DP deeply regrettable. I hope they will give more careful consideration in the future." The official reiterated that the government will thoroughly review the bills in accordance with the Constitution and the law, prioritizing the future of the nation above all else, as it has been doing. In addition, the official said the world is watching, and the international community has supported the current constitutional process and the Prime Minister assuming the role of caretaker, and another shakeup could only harm the nation. Kim Do-yeon, Arirang News.
Now, citing the refusal, the opposition is pushing to introduce a motion to impeach the acting president, but not today as initially planned. A part of the conflict was sparked by efforts to fill vacancies at the Constitutional Court. Choi Min-jung reports.
The main opposition Democratic Party is pushing through with an impeachment motion for acting President Han Duck-soo. The decision was adopted by the DP unanimously on Tuesday, with intentions to be submitted the same day. However, the party announced it would submit and report the motion on Thursday instead and put it up for an assembly vote as early as Friday. The move comes in response to Han's refusal to promulgate investigations on President Yoon Suk-yeol and First Lady Kim Gon-hee. The DP has been arguing that a cabinet that crosses the people's will does not have a reason to continue. To pass the impeachment motion, the DP says only 151 yes votes are needed, or a simple majority of the 300 lawmakers. However, the acting chair and floor leader of the ruling People Power Party, Kwon Song-dong, argues that as he is acting president, it would require at least 200, as was the case for the impeachment motion against President Yoon. Also on Tuesday, the National Assembly, led by the opposition, adopted confirmation hearing reports for 3 nominees to fill the seats at the Constitutional Court of Korea. The opposition has repeatedly urged acting President Han to promptly appoint 3 additional constitutional justices to fill the 9-member panel to make the final decision on President Yoon's impeachment. The committee members questioned candidate Cho Han-chang on Tuesday. However, the ruling party members refused to participate, arguing that acting President Han has no authority to make the appointments. The opposition lawmakers aim to get Cho, along with the 2 other nominees who were questioned on Monday, confirmed by the Assembly at a plenary session this Thursday. Choi Min-jung, Arirang News.
President Yoon Suk-yeol will not be responding to a summons by investigators for questioning on Christmas Day, as his legal representative repeats claims that priority should first be placed on the impeachment trial. Meantime, the court is moving ahead with proceedings as scheduled. Yoon has the latest.
President Yoon Suk-yeol's lawyer says that it seems unlikely Yoon will attend the questioning scheduled for Wednesday with the Special Investigative Team, which includes the Corruption Investigation Office for high-ranking officials. On Tuesday, lawyer Seok Dong-yeon, who is involved in the selection of Yoon's legal team, which is yet to be fully formed, explained to reporters that the president believes certain conditions must be met first. He emphasized that the Constitutional Court's impeachment trial process should take priority, and once the president's position is clearly communicated to both the justices and the public, the matter will be viewed more objectively and seriously by the public. This comes after President Yoon's office has repeatedly refused to accept summons notifications for the investigation. On the same day, the Constitutional Court spokesperson responded to concerns raised by President Yoon's legal team about the bench's 3 vacant seats, particularly regarding whether a 6-member panel can effectively conduct the full impeachment trial. During a briefing, the spokesperson reaffirmed that the trial can proceed with 6 justices and that the court will move forward with the first preparatory hearing scheduled for Friday. With President Yoon refusing to accept trial documents, it's uncertain whether he will submit the required documents by the 7-day deadline starting on the 20th. Additionally, the court announced that its justices will hold a second round of meetings on Yoon's impeachment this Thursday, with further details to be disclosed later. Meanwhile, No Sang-won, a former Defense Intelligence Command chief, was transferred to the Supreme Prosecutor's office in Seoul on Tuesday morning as one of the key figures in the martial law investigation. This stems from the so-called hamburger meetings, covert gatherings at a fast food restaurant where martial law details were allegedly discussed. A notebook seized from No could serve as crucial evidence, reportedly outlining troop deployments and plans to provoke a North Korean attack near the northern limit line, intensifying suspicions of his involvement in leading martial law despite his civilian status. Yoon, Arirang News.
The ruling People Power Party on Tuesday named 5-term lawmaker Kwon Young-se to lead its Emergency Leadership Cmte. Kwon, a representative of Yongsan-gu District in central Seoul, accepted the chairman's post 8 days after the former leader Han Dong-hoon resigned over the party's internal conflict stemming from the impeachment of the president. Accepting the role, Kwon said that the ruling party needs harmony, stability, and reform at a time like this, when it needs to earn back people's trust. The party will officially appoint Kwon following a meeting of its National Committee on December 30th. In the U.S., a senior-level diplomatic meeting took place between Seoul and Washington. The allies have agreed to resume interactions earlier postponed by the political fallout from Korea's brief imposition of martial law on December 3rd. Our foreign affairs correspondent Pei In-ji has more.
First Vice Foreign Minister Kim Hong-kyun met with his American counterpart Kurt Campbell as South Korea works to put relations with the United States back on track amid political turmoil following the brief imposition of martial law earlier this month. This is the first time that a high-level meeting has taken place between the two countries since President Yoon Suk-yeol declared martial law on December 3rd. Kim reassured the United States that governance under the acting president is operating stably in South Korea. and showed hopes on strengthening bilateral relations, as well as a trilateral partnership with Japan.
ROC U.S.-Japan trilateral cooperation, building upon the achievements we have made so far, not only for the remainder of the Biden administration, but during the upcoming new U.S. administration.
Campbell, who said he wishes South Korea well in a challenging period, said they're seeking to underscore their strongest possible commitment.
Our expectation is that the critical mechanisms in the U.S.-RK relationship will remain in place, and we believe that a meeting schedule is important.
Following their meetings, Seoul's foreign ministry said on Tuesday that the two sides agreed to fully resume diplomatic and security events that have been put off and hold them at the earliest possible and mutually convenient time. Earlier this month, the two countries postponed a session of the Nuclear Consultative Group, which is their key nuclear deterrence body. But with only about a month left until U.S. President-elect Donald Trump takes office, concerns remain as to whether South Korea will be able to handle issues such as the cost sharing for American troops in South Korea. A senior South Korean official told reporters in Washington that the government will work on expanding communication with Trump's team before and after the inauguration. The official added that although nothing has been confirmed, if Trump's side wishes, they are willing to arrange a phone call or an in-person meeting with South Korea's acting president Han Duck-soo, adding that the Yoon administration has been communicating with the Trump team since before the U.S. presidential election. 배은지, Arirang News.
One of the most notable developments on the global stage this year has been the deepening military alliance between Russia and North Korea. As 2024 comes to a close, we take a look at how Pyongyang's unprecedented involvement in the Ukraine war, both through troop deployments and weapons supplies, has shifted the dynamics of the conflict. For more, we're joined by our North Korean affairs correspondent Kim Jong-se. Jong-se, how far has this development gone?
Jong-min, North Korea has gone from a peripheral player in the Ukraine war to a critical partner for Russia. Pyongyang has reportedly supplied millions of artillery shells, dozens of ballistic missiles, and advanced rocket launchers to sustain Moscow's war effort. Most notably, it has sent around 11,000 troops to Russia's Kursk region, marking an unprecedented scale of involvement. This partnership reflects North Korea's strategic goal to secure advanced military technology. According to Professor Im Chul of Gyeongnam University, Pyongyang is leveraging its contributions to gain sensitive technologies from Moscow. Here's what he told us.
At this moment, we have to think about all types of advanced technology could be provided to North Korea. I think North Korea already delivered wish list of advanced technology to Russia.
Professor Im explained that North Korea's contributions, such as ammunition and troops, are calculated to maximize returns from Moscow, with advanced technologies being a key objective. He suggested these technologies could span various fields without clear limits. In contrast, Professor Park Won-gon of Ewha Women's University suggested that Pyongyang is more likely receiving conventional resources and weapons, such as rather than sensitive technologies. Take a listen.
Russia has never shared such sensitive advanced technologies with its allies or friendly nations. It is more plausible that North Korea received conventional weapons, food, crude oil, or cash payment per deployed soldiers rather than advanced weaponry.
He also noted that the likelihood of such transfers would further decrease under a Trump administration, which would prioritize homeland defense and strongly oppose any move that enhances North Korea's military capabilities.
It's clear North Korea's role in the Ukraine war is raising broader concerns, but how much impact has this alliance actually had on the battlefield?
Well, the impact of this alliance actually reflects strategic necessities on both sides. Professor Im noted that Russia would be very satisfied with North Korea's contributions as they help fill critical gaps caused by prolonged fighting and Western sanctions. Meanwhile, Professor Park pointed out that this partnership also highlights Russia's weaknesses, particularly its reliance on North Korea to sustain the war.
These demonstrate that Russia lacks the capacity to sustain the Russian-Ukraine war independently and has resorted to enlisting North Korean support. It reflects a strategic necessity for Russia to continue its war effort.
Now, shifting to the domestic front, North Korea is preparing for its annual Workers' Party plenary meeting where Kim Jong-un is expected to focus on showcasing his regime's broader strategic achievements. However, it's unclear whether Pyongyang will address troop deployment at this high-profile event. Professor Im predicts that while Kim may reveal these developments eventually, the regime is carefully planning how to manage domestic reactions.
Sooner or later, Kim Jong-un will disclose, all kinds of facts, including casualties happened in Russia and Ukraine war. Kim Jong-un already made some arrangement to minimize its negative impact on their regime.
Jong-se, what should we watch out for heading into 2025?
Well, a key question is how the incoming Trump government would react to North Korea's alignment with Russia and how they will approach the situation. Now, take a listen to what Professor Park has to say about President-elect Trump's potential strategy.
He already mentioned several times, one of his top priorities of his foreign policy agenda is to stop the Russian-Ukraine war. Even he said that within 24 hours. And it makes such a huge impact in various areas, especially for the dispatchment of the North Korean troops to that war. There is a possibility that Trump would have some kind of resume the communication channel with Kim Jong-un, and he probably demand or request to stop deployment.
At the same time, North Korea's deepening ties with Russia signal a strategic shift, positioning Pyongyang as a more active player in global geopolitics. How Pyongyang navigates this partnership in light of potential U.S. pressure under a Trump administration will be a key factor shaping its strategy in 2025.
All right, Jong-se, thanks for your analysis. Consumer confidence here in the country has lost substantial ground amid the ongoing political turmoil. The index for December tumbled well below 100, indicating rampant pessimism about consumption prospects. Park Kwon-woo has the latest data.
Consumer sentiment in South Korea is worsening amid the ongoing political turmoil. On Tuesday, the Bank of Korea released its Composite Consumer Sentiment Index for December, which showed a drop of over 12 points on month to 88.4. That's the largest drop since the 2008 financial crisis. A CCSI below 100 indicates a pessimistic view of consumer sentiment compared to the average of the past 2 decades. And key components of the index, including the current economic assessment and economic outlook, saw their steepest declines in recent years. An official from the central bank attributed the downturn to factors, including the political crisis since the short-lived martial law order earlier this month, along with ongoing concerns of a slowdown in exports with the second Trump administration. The official added that any recovery in consumer sentiment will depend on how quickly the political uncertainty is tamed. One expert said more proactive governmental policies are needed in these difficult circumstances.
More effective policies are needed to stabilize prices, and ongoing efforts must be made to support small business owners so that they have the solid foundations to keep their businesses running smoothly.
The expert added the budget should be used more efficiently to avoid compromising fiscal soundness, while underscoring the need for deeper consideration when making policies. On Monday, during an economic ministerial meeting, Finance Minister Choi Sang-mok pledged to prioritize restoring people's livelihoods by fully mobilizing government resources. He shared plans to vitalize the domestic economy through policies for each sector, including tourism and construction. Choi added he'll do his best to ease the burden on households by addressing essential living costs, including food and housing. Further details are set to be announced early next week. Park Gun-woo, Arirang News.
South Korea has officially become a super-aged society, meaning the population aged 65 or older accounts for at least 20% of the total population. Eyes are on what comes next. Cha Yoon-kyung has more.
The Ministry of the Interior and Safety said on Tuesday that South Korea has officially become a super-aged society with 20% of its population aged 65 and over. According to data from the ministry, as of Monday, the number of people in this age group is 10,244,550, accounting for 20% of the total registered population of 51,221,286. The United Nations classifies societies based on the percentage of the population aged 65 and over. It is considered an aging society if the percentage exceeds 7%, an aged society if it surpasses 14%, and a super-aged society if it exceeds 20%. The percentage of the registered population older than 65 gradually increased from 10.02% in 2008 to 11.01% in 2011, 12.03% in 2013, 13.02% in 2015, 14.02% in 2017, and 14.9% in 2019, before exceeding 20% yesterday. Eyes are on whether this new milestone will trigger a societal debate on the issue of whether to extend the legal retirement age in Korea, which is currently 60. Cha Yoon-kyung, Arirang News.
With cold wave warnings and advisories still in place, some regions experienced a frigid morning today with temperatures of -10 degrees. It will continue to be colder than usual nationwide until tomorrow morning. From tomorrow afternoon, the temperatures will rise 1 to 3 degrees higher than today across the country. Even though the sky will stay cloudy, it will be difficult to expect a white Christmas like last year. However, light snow can be seen in the central and western parts of the country, along with Jeju Island between tomorrow night and dawn Thursday. On Christmas Day, Daejeon and Daegu will start off at -2 degrees, Gwangju -1 degree. Highs will move up to 7 in Daejeon and Daegu, Gwangju and Gyeongju 8 degrees. The morning temperature will plummet to -7 degrees in Seoul on Friday. That's all for Korea. Here are the weather conditions around the world. Merry Christmas.
That is Newscenter for tonight. Thank you for watching and happy Christmas.